Hey there guys, thanks for checking out my latest video. My name is Vince, and today we're going to be discussing how every single card trick in the world works. Well, just about every single card trick anyway. After all, they're virtually all the same. Somebody picks a card, puts the card back into the deck gets shuffled, and the card gets found. The only difference is the style, approach, and creativity behind doing the trick. Now, for demonstration purposes, obviously today, you cannot select a card and put it inside the deck for me. So we're going to pretend that all of our cards have already been selected. Now, to keep everything fair, all of our selected cards are going to be the spades. And we're also going to do this in chronological order, meaning if the last card produced was the 2 of spades, that means the next selected card is the 3 of spades. I hope you enjoy. If we're going to talk about card tricks, and specifically how they're done, one of the first discussions we need to have is about the types of performers that actually perform the tricks. They basically fall into 2 separate categories. You're going to have your flourish performer and your natural performer. Well, what I mean by flourish performer is everything they do is designed behind making the trick or effect or movement as aesthetically pleasing as possible. For example, if a flourish magician were to ask you to pick a card, they might do so from a very elegant looking fan such as this. They'll do this from the very beginning so you know in advance that they're very well practiced, that they're very good with a deck of cards, and that you're about to be entertained. When it comes to mixing up the deck, they may do it in a very sophisticated manner, such as this. Now, our natural performer would actually take a different approach. They want everything to be as subtle as possible, or as natural looking as possible. They do this because they don't want you to think that anything out of the ordinary is even taking place. So when they have you pick a card, they might do it like this. Or when mixing up the deck, they'll do it like many of you at home do, and simply and casually mix up the deck. Now, for those of you that are actual card players out there, you'd be happy to see some solid riffle shuffles. Basically the exact same types of shuffles you'd like to see in any card game that you play. And if you're not a card player, well, that's okay, because these are the same types of shuffles that you'd see on a Vegas casino floor. The reason it's important to understand the difference between the 2 styles of magician or 2 styles of performers is because they might approach the exact same trick in 2 different ways. Let's take, for example, let's say 2 cards have been selected and placed inside the deck. The deck's already been shuffled, so the flourish performer would find the cards in a manner such as this, by literally taking the deck and doing various feats of prestidigitation. And of course we find the 2 cards, the ace of spades and the 2 of spades. Now our natural performer would actually take a different approach to this. 2 cards are selected, placed in the deck, and they would simply shuffle the deck. And using a very subtle and very natural cut, they will find the 2 cards in 2 separate places in the deck. Our 3 of spades and our 4 of spades. Now by now, many people would ask me, why would anybody want to do it from the natural perspective? I mean, the flourish method is so much cooler. Well, that's a very good question, and that's actually a debate that many magicians have for hours on end. But I'm going to give you a very specific example of why somebody would want to do these methods from a subtle perspective or a natural perspective. Let's take, for example, your card cheat. A card cheat has one goal: to make money, or specifically to take your money. In order to do this, he needs to keep you at the table as long as possible. So he uses a few different tools. The first one is being as natural as possible. He won't appear to be any more skilled than you are. The other thing he's going to do is not only beat you, but just barely beat you. What I mean by that is, let's say we're playing cut for high card, double or nothing, winner take all. Super easy game. You simply take the deck, give it a cut, whoever gets the highest card wins. Well, from a card cheater's perspective, the reason why he wouldn't want to very badly beat you is you wouldn't stick around that long. For example, if you pulled a 7 and he pulled an ace, and you pulled a 10 and he pulled an ace, and then you pulled a 2 and then he pulled an ace, obviously you're not going to stick around very long after that. Nobody wants to just give their money away. So he's going to try to keep you there as long as he can by just barely beating you. Well, how this works as a physical example is, let's say you're getting ready to play cut high card, double or nothing, winner take all. So you take the deck, and just like any game, before you start, you need to shuffle the deck, make sure everything's fair and honest. You're actually going to take that deck and give it a cut, and you're going to pull the 5. This is why you've been invited here today. Now, just to reiterate, as a card cheat, I can virtually, anytime I want to, and without much work or effort, I can indeed produce an ace. But I told you, that's not what we're here to do. We're here to beat you barely. So all I need to do to beat your 5 is to pull, well, the 6 will work. Ooh, lucky me. So I hope that gives you an idea of why a performer may want to do some of these things from a subtle perspective. Let's go ahead and move on and talk about another style of performance. This is what I call the bumbling magician, meaning there are many magicians or many effects out there that will do a trick and accidentally get the wrong card, as in they'll pretend to pull the wrong card. For example, we know the next card in our set is going to be the 7 of spades. But instead of the 7, our performer decides to pull the 8. Well, why would he do this? Well, one, he may want to disarm you and make you think he is less skilled than he actually is. And that way, when he does find your card, it makes it even sweeter. I mean, there are literally a number of different reasons for doing this. The reason I pulled the 8 in this case is so I can, use a method of extreme card artistry to find your card. For example, I will take that card that was not your card, throw it in the air, and catch it within the deck. Now, if all worked out correctly, I should find that card face up somewhere in the middle. And of course, I've used that card to find your actual card, the 7 of spades. And not only did I find the 7, but we went a step further and found the next selected card, the 9. Another way the bumbling magician type effect might work is doing what's called a transformation, literally changing one card into another. It's almost what real magic is about. For example, a magician may get done doing their various cuts and sleights and various feats of the soundment, and then simply say, what do you think the chances that after all that cutting, after all that shuffling, that this top card right here is your card? I'll give you a hint. I'm a magician. Well, of course, very good chance it's going to be your card. See, there it is. Oh, the king's not your card? See, we know this in advance. We just play it up very big time. We might even make a few jokes about it, such as, well, we got a technical term for this. It's called screwing up. We might even take it one step further and say, well, if it wasn't the king, was I just a card off? Was it possibly the ace? Well, no. Well, without any misdirection whatsoever, they will actually take that king and place it on the table. They might do a couple grand passes here. They may do a magician stance or pose. They may use words of verbal conjuration, such as, Spintumen Batalio Vidite, infernal spirits, obey my command. Or if doing this in front of a fair young lass, may decide to be a little flirtatious and simply say, the most powerful bit of magic in the world is that of a woman's gaze. If you indeed gaze upon that card, and I have not touched it since I put it down, what was not before now shall be, from the king of clubs to the 10 of spades. Then we have other types of tricks and effects where the magician will actually take away freedom of choice. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, let's say I want to make you pick a specific card. In this case, our Jack of Spades is next. I want you to pick the Jack of Spades, but I want you to have the illusion of freedom of choice. How do I go about doing that? Well, I might do something like this. Tell me when to stop. Here at the bottom, through the middle, through the end. It really doesn't matter. Tell me when to stop, your choice. And to be perfectly honest, that part of it is legitimate. That is a free choice. You can stop here at the bottom, through the middle, through the end. It really doesn't matter. Because no matter where you tell me to stop, the card that I want you to select is going to be right there. Now, I want you to watch very carefully, because by the time I get done at this point, many people are asking if I even change any order of the deck. I want you to watch very carefully and make sure I do cut the deck. I will even strip some cards off and finish the cut. I will square it up completely so nothing is sticking out. No dog ears, no finger breaks, nothing like that. And yet, miraculously, almost like magic, we produce your card. Then there are those types of tricks where the magician will actually mess with the deck itself and not just the cards he's performing with. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, let's say, for example, we took the deck and did something a little different than we're used to seeing. We're actually going to take half the deck face up and half the deck face down and shuffle them into one another. Very symbolic of that game called 52-card pickup. I don't know if any of you played, but those that have know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, it really irritates the heck out of you because you're going to get cards that face every which direction. I mean, you got some cards that face up, and you got some cards that face down. Heck, you even got cards that face both ways. I mean, look at the bottom card. Makes it virtually impossible to find somebody's card throughout a mixed-up deck. Unless, of course, you're a magician. So all you need to do is square the deck up, give it a nice little cut, and with just a little magical flip of the wrist, cause your card to jump out. Now, the difference between a good trick and a great trick is that little bit extra at the end, that little twist or that little surprise. For example, I want you to ask yourself, did you really just see 13 different tricks? Or has it all been just one big illusion? For even though I found that king of spades face up inside of a deck that was backwards and forwards and ups and downs in every which direction, I did go through the trouble of straightening out the deck. Not only did I straighten out the deck and make every card face down, I went through the trouble of putting the rest of the deck in order. Ace through the king, each within its own suit. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Vincent Knight. I hope you enjoyed the demonstration. Thank you. Hey there, guys. Thanks for sticking around after the trip. There's actually something I'm very passionate about that I want to discuss with you. You may or may not have heard, I've gotten together with a few of my friends, such as the Mistress of Mentalism, Miss Clairvoyant, the Human Blockhead, David Richardson, and Magician's Assistants, Melanie Kramer and Sarah Janelle. We've put together a grand show that's going to be done at the Cheyenne Civic Center on November 15th. It's going to be an epic event. But that's not what I want to talk to you about today. What I want to talk to you about is what's called our Sponsor Spot program. It's a program that's designed to let individuals who normally wouldn't be able to, due to life situation, hardship, or disability, the opportunity to come see a live show. Take, for example, Johnny. Johnny is a highly functional, developmentally disabled adult. He wants to go to the show, but due to his limited means, he can't afford to. And because of his life situation, he's not able to change his income situation either. This is where you come in. You do what's called a sponsor spot. Each sponsor spot only costs $5. After we get 10 sponsor spots, that produces a sponsored ticket. Now, nobody likes to go see a show by themselves. So not only will that produce one sponsor ticket, but we'll also donate another ticket free of charge, so Johnny can take a friend. Now, I understand we're not the ALS. We're not curing cancer here. All we're doing is putting a smile on other people's faces. But for that, we still need your help. So please, participate in the Sponsor Spot program. It's only $5. If you can do more, do so. If you can't do anything at all, we do understand. Please share this video, and that way other people have the opportunity to put a smile on somebody else's face. I thank you for your time.